This is the finale episode of my Growing a Kadota Fig cutting series. It's day 438, 2023 July. So this was over a year ago already at the time of this release and production of this video. You can see there's a lot of webbing there. You can see some little dots. They're pretty much spider mites. When I see a web like that, it's typically not guarded by a spider. So I don't have a lot of orb weavers around here. And I do have a lot of spiders in the front yard and in the house, but here you can see that's spider mites. So 2023 was a year of neglect. I didn't do that much pesticide spraying, and there was a general decline towards the second half of the year, and you can see it starting here already. You can also see a bit of yellowing, so that could be due to spider mites. It could also be due to fungal disease, but I'm thinking in the case of this Kadota fig plant, it's all due to spider mites. But nonetheless, the foliage still looks lush from a distance. However, there is a bunch of thinning out and some yellowing. Figs look healthy. This new crop is not bad, but they're not in large numbers, and because this was grown from cutting, everything kind of sags down like that. So you can see I was examining that reddish plant. It's just some random plant that flew in by seed and started germinating. So this is August 2023. You can see the foliage is thinning out. I'm losing leaves. So this is what happens when you let spider mites go unchecked. And nothing will ever get as bad as those infestations I had from Miracle-Gro potting mix that wasn't heat sterilized or sterilized through other means 10, 11 years ago when I started my plant growing series on this channel. So if you know what kind of weed or plant this is, let me know. Maybe it's from one of the bushes nearby in the landscaping. So yeah, you can see just by August, I'm losing all these leaves, which is atypical in terms of seasonality. So I should have been a lot more diligent in spraying pesticide, but I wasn't in terms of plant care for 2023. This is still August. So you can see this is a fig cut in half. So these don't need to be pollinated by wasps, so they're not disgusting like most of those figs out there that are sold and eaten commercially. But yeah, it's basically you wait until they're squishy, almost about to fall off the branches, or you can even wait until after they fall off. So it goes against every instinct you have in terms of when you should pick a fruit and eat it. You can see a little bit of webbing just got on my hand, my index finger over there. But yeah, there's definitely a spider mite problem, but the insides of these fruits are very clean. So yeah, I typically just wash with a soapy sponge and rinse and get off the crap from the outside before I start cutting. That way I don't bring in what's on the knife all the way until the inside. So this is footage from October 2023. So it's fall, and this is the last day of filming in which I examine everything that's in there in the root ball underneath that we can't see. So there's very little foliage left, and in California's mild climate, you can see more spider mite webbing there. In California's mild climate, you're not supposed to be losing all this foliage in October. So that's how we know things are going wrong. But at this point, I just wasn't really up for letting this go season after season because, yeah, I don't really like the fruits to the point where I want to keep this around nonstop. But yeah, you can see there's ants in there, and probably Argentine ants, I think. They infest everything. They have a super colony in California and in many other parts of the world where they're invasive. So yeah, this thing is really hard to pull out because, number one, this pot is an abomination. It's very narrow at the base, and it's too wide at the top. So these tend to fall over, although this particular plant never fell over from Santa Ana winds or high wind gusts because it's very low lying because it's grown from cuttings. So like all these branches just droop downwards, and it's that part of this plant growing experience was just always very annoying, very unaesthetic. But yeah, since everything sprawls like that, it's super hard to pull out, and also the pot itself is lipped, and it's not a smooth interior. So when you're trying to pull out this huge cocoa coir root ball, dirt ball, it just gets stuck, and there's a lot of friction against that inner lip of the top of the pot. So in many of these other transplants that I did, well, in this case, it's not a transplant. I would use really levered scissors, shears, to basically cut out the sides of these pots, or I'd like cut all the way down from top to bottom, from one side, then the other side, then I would pry both sides apart. But in this case, I'm just going to keep this pot and see if I can just yank everything out without destroying the pot. So these pots aren't too expensive, but they're also not like cheap either, to the point where you can just consider destroying them every single time. But yeah, they're around, if I remember, I don't know, 30, maybe $40, something like that, probably $30, probably more by now. But yeah, the big square planters that I'm using for a lot of my new projects, yeah, those are basically like almost $100. So that's a big price difference, but things grow way better in them than they do in these pots, because these pots dry out really quickly. Just like the small so-called 5-gallon pots, the green ones that I got off Amazon before. So yeah, you could see the root ball is pretty tough. None of the roots seem to be that thick, but on the perimeter there's all these like thin ones, and the root system looks more or less healthy. So there's no signs of root rot, nothing turned to mush. It's really hard to pry stuff apart, which means the roots are still alive and very robust. And like I said before, due to the structure of this pot, it's really hard to yank everything out. So yeah, this plant growing series went well overall. I got fruit pretty quickly. There were no real major hitches. Granted, we have a spider mite problem in 2023 due to lack of pesticides. And I do read all the suggestions, the comments, so at least on the recent videos, that I still have people commenting on videos that are 10 plus years old, and on occasion I will respond. A lot of times I don't, on things that are just that old, but yeah, I got 2 rounds of figs from this, and I just decided that I wanted to devote my energy elsewhere, that I didn't find the fruit all that worthwhile to keep doing this forever and ever. But you can see it's a solid root ball. It's not something that you could just bust open, and once you dash on the ground, like huge chunks of cocoa coir start spilling out, and then you can just dust everything off the root system to do an examination. In this case, you can see I'm trying to peel to the sides, and it won't even budge. So yeah, it's not worth it, in my opinion, to try to recover every single little fiber of cocoa coir from this. I'm just going to break all of these branches off, and then dump the whole thing in the composting bin, wheel it out for garbage services to pick up. And that's it. Use the pot for something else. In some of these pots, underneath, like roaches come running out, or crickets, and that wasn't the case for this pot. So I think it's generally pretty underwatered. You can see how dry all of this looks. So yeah, I went on to use this as a backup pot for my growing avocado trees from Pit series. So I have to come up with a new name every time, and that's what I ended up doing. And this pot ended up being used for the backup seedling, the smaller avocado pit that I germinated recently. So thanks for watching, and please stay tuned to my YouTube channel for further updates on all my other plant series. I hope you enjoyed watching this Kadota fig series.